Yeah, man, I put a lot of work in over the last 2 months. It's frustrating in part where, I didn't feel like I was incapable of throwing, but like I just didn't have good stuff. I couldn't let the ball go completely, so it took a long time to kind of come to grips with the fact that I needed to give it the time that we did. The fact that these guys played so well kind of made that a little bit easier, allowed me the time to really get it right instead of needing to rush back. It just felt good, man. I mean, this is like where I feel the best. Obviously, with the way we're playing, I want to be part of that. I want to contribute. So, yeah, it felt incredible to be back out there.
Now, the pitching side, it looked like you were really sharp today. It looked like you had everything you go to. How did you feel?
Yeah, physically I felt great. There's a lot of room for improvement there. I think I flashed signs of, my good stuff at times, a little inconsistent, but a lot of the things that, I look for in my outing were there. First pitch strikes, getting to 2 strikes early in the count, and just not great execution at 2 strikes of getting the ball, to the spots I want. But this is only my 3rd time on the mound since, building back, so I know that stuff's going to get sharper. But I was really happy with the way it was coming out, the command of the fastball, and the usage of the cutter. Threw a couple changeups that hadn't been great throughout the rehab process, showed up a little more tonight. So a lot of good things trending in the right direction, but, a lot of room to tighten things up still. So.
Mike talked about your leadership and how you were able to be a presence in this clubhouse even when you weren't really pitching. Yeah. Just what kind of a special effort did you make to still be a part of this team even though you couldn't get on the mound?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I preach to these guys all the time, and you can't just talk about it. You got to kind of do it yourself and lead by example. So in a way it gave me a little more opportunity to remove my own personal concerns to the side and really focus on the team more, and taking a bigger role in some of those leadership things, and still being there in the pitchers meetings and still offering my advice and my experience throughout that whole process. So in a way it was a little easier. It's harder to sit by and not play, but it allowed me to focus on that a little bit more, and I learned a lot about myself, about this team, about what being a leader looks like. So I really feel like I made the most of my time down, but ultimately this is where I want to be, is on that mound and contribute and helping this team. So.
How'd it feel walking off the field with a standing ovation?
Yeah, man, I mean, this city's treated me so well since I came back here, and I know that's partially because San Diego's got a lot of love and respect for, people that are from here that have made it to this level. I love pitching in this stadium. I love representing this city. And yeah, it's a really good feeling knowing that, as much as they can sit there and harp on me for not being there and missing 2 months of the season and not having good production before that, they backed me up and kind of gave me that extra little adrenaline rush going into the night. So it was a good feeling walking off to that.
What did you do with the slight adjustments to your delivery?
That's going to be a long interview if we talk about that, but really just moving the body better, using the full body to throw the ball. I feel like a lot of the stress on my elbow is coming from, not really loading into the lower half well and not continuing my rotation through release. So I don't know if that makes sense to anybody, but pitchers out there will understand it. Just kind of getting a little more of the full body involved in the motion and a little better finish to the pitches. So
it makes sense because I asked Stan before I asked you.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, like my velo in the rehab starts was 94 to 96 at times, sitting around 94, 95. So I don't know what I was at tonight. I saw a couple 4s and 5s up there, but I feel a lot better when I have that a little bit of added life to my ball. I think it forces the hitters to make a commitment to pitches earlier and in the delivery, and ultimately helps me get away with some pitches that are leaking over the middle a little bit. But overall the delivery feels good. It's really helping my ability to recover and keeping me in a good spot health-wise. So like I said, hard to explain, but I feel like I'm moving a lot better. Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that I got into the 5th tonight, I think we talked about 4 innings and 60, 65 pitches. I was pretty efficient throughout the course of the game, so allowed me to go out for a 5th, which is big for us now. I think if my pitch count stays efficient, I can possibly get into the 6th in my next one, but I'm still, being cautious of how I'm building myself back up, and I want this to be a proper progression of using my stuff properly, making sure the delivery's right, making sure the health's right, and not really rushing this thing to get back and push deep in the game. So I'm going to give it everything I have as long as they'll, let me hold the ball out there. But, we've talked about this, about getting this right. Me healthy down the stretch is a big part of this team. So, I got to kind of gauge myself at times and, rely on them to gauge me. So.
Especially meaningful is your return, given how this team is playing and making a legitimate playoff push.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, I feel like I bring a lot to the table when I'm out on the mound and I'm healthy and pitching good. So, it feels good to know that these guys were able to hold it down while I was out. We had, multiple different arms in there. Martin's been incredible since he's been with us. So it's been a good feeling knowing that I can really take my time. Not abuse the time off, but make sure that I'm right and healthy so that I don't have another setback and I'm able to finish strong and pitch into the postseason. So.